Hi everybody, this is a really important video for LYNX Whiteboard and it's all about the floating toolbars. The developers of LYNX thought that it was really important to make LYNX as intuitive as possible to use, which is why the toolbar at the bottom of the screen is so simplistic. We can go into the pencil case, we can come out, we've got the text tools, the editing tools, all of the media that we can insert as well. We have our area for messing around with our pages and the options for those, and so everything's at the bottom. But what about the items on the pages? Rather than having to search loads of extra menus for the things that we can do that we put onto our slides or pages, the developers came up with the idea that instead, that when we click on something, a floating toolbar will appear underneath with a few options. Now, depending on the item, there might be some bespoke symbols that come up on there depending on the item. So you can see there are different symbols for this protractor to the clock. There is actually the ability to change the clock so we can see the digital, or go in here for the clock options, so we can change this into a stopwatch, or we can decide to remove hands and so on, all from that one icon there. Meanwhile, on the protractor, we have angle choices. So what do we want to measure angles in? Percentages maybe instead of degrees, so that when I'm measuring here, you can see I'm measuring percentages and I can stamp those on there. When it comes to images, you will have other choices, one of them being the AI tool, so we can open up the AI options and search for other images if you're a LYNX Pro user. So whenever you see this sparkly little icon here, that is for the LYNX Pro users that want to use AI to improve the content. We also have an enter button so that we can zoom in to the image or whatever the item is on the page. And we have a load of image options, and I'll be doing a separate video on all of those. Please look out for them. But I'm hoping you'll notice that on quite a few of these things, whether it's an image or some writing or a text box, there are some symbols that are the same across all the items. So we'll have a look at those in this video at the moment. As for bespoke things like lines, they have their own options. So for example, we can mess with the thickness of lines, pick a color, and going into the options here, we can decide if we want a dashed line. Do we want to add points to the line so that we can bend it in a variety of ways? And my video on pens goes through that, because that is actually the pen that draws lines that I'm showcasing there. Similarly here, just for the normal pens, we can mess with the thickness and of course the colour. Text boxes have their own extra tools, so check out my text box video to learn all about the different choices that come with text boxes. But we're mainly going to focus on these icons here that you always get with items. First of all, we have the crosshairs. The crosshairs allow you to move items around the page. Now you might think, well, why do I need that? I can click and hold something and just move it around straight away. Well, the crosshairs become useful if we're selecting multiple items. So while I've selected these two images here, I can use the crosshairs to move all of them as one. I haven't grouped them, I'm just moving them, and they are still separate, so I can move this one separately and then still move them because I selected them together. I could select very random items, so one on this side of the page, hold my control button and click and hold this item as well. And notice here's the floating toolbar for both of those items across the page. You only get one floating toolbar. It doesn't matter how many images you pick up. So if I pick up all of these images here, I get one floating toolbar and I can move them all. Notice it did not pick up my little diagram here, and that's because I've moved these things into the background layer. More on that in a moment. Next we have the visibility icon. So with the visibility icon, it's all about deciding whether or not you want to make that object transparent. So with the slider here, I can start to make things look a bit ghostly, or move it all the way and it will disappear, but it is still there if I know that it's there for me to make it reappear later on. There is also a hide in preview toggle, which is for when I want to hide things from a window that helps me flow to a particular page, and check out my video on flow windows and links for what that does. Next we have the group and ungroup buttons. When I just select one thing, they don't appear on my floating toolbar, but the minute that I select more than one thing, you will see them appear. So I could group both of these items together. So now they are one thing that I can move around. Now, there's nothing else to group at the moment, so I can ungroup. But notice ungroup is there again here, and that is because I can ungroup the red cross from my circle as well. And then I can choose to group them again. Next is the arrange and transform stacker. Now this is really useful to use. So when we select this and we go in, we can do a variety of things with the objects here. We can flip them and rotate them. We can layer them differently. So at the minute, this star slides behind both of these items here. But if I bring it forward a layer a couple of times, you'll see it's going in front there. And as I layer it backwards, now it's gone behind the items again. So it just depends how we want to group them. But also I can send things into the background layer. Now that I've done that, my star appears to be hidden, but it's still there. Everything else is faded out. But look, my diagram here, I can now mess with it because I'm in the background layer, which is where I sent it using these buttons here. And then I can exit the background from there. So that's how we can arrange things for the layer that they're on in either the normal layer or the background layer. Finally, we have the options. When we click on this, we can copy an item and then I can paste it somewhere else on the page. Just delete it for now. Also, from the options, I could cut it. So it disappears and I could go somewhere else and then paste it. We also have delete, which just gets rid of it altogether. And the one I really like, we have clone, which makes an instant copy of whatever it is. And we can do this as many times as we like. Now the other options that we get in the three dots are all to do with how we prepare things for presenting mode. So please check out my video on that. As you explore with links, as I say, just don't be scared of the menu options. Hover over them, it'll tell you what they are. Click on them, explore them, play with them. It's always amazing what you can do in links. I'm always discovering new things myself. But at least you're not having to search loads of menus. Thanks for watching. Good luck.